This evening, President Ali calls for international support in achieving sustainable development goals. Man charged with attempted murder of 10-year-old and felonious wounding of 12-year-old. Police seize over 8,000 grams of marijuana in stop-and-search operation in West Berbice. In the region, Canada links Indian government to Sikh leaders' murder. And internationally, UN General Assembly, climate change, hunger concerns. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for September 19, 2023. I am Berbice. Thank you for joining us. First up, a 42-year-old spray painter has been arrested and charged with attempted murder of a 10-year-old and felonious wounding of a 12-year-old. Relative to a social media post of two children being beaten and burnt, 42-year-old Zabar Khan of First Street Fowlis, East Coast Demerara, was arrested and charged with the offense of attempted to commit murder when he appeared at the Vigilance Magistrates Court on Monday, September 19th. Khan appeared before Magistrate Fabio Azor, where the charge was read to him, and he pleaded not guilty and was remanded to prison. During the same court appearance, Khan also answered to a second charge for the offense of felonious wounding committed on a 12-year-old boy before Magistrate Azor, where the charge was read to him. He pleaded not guilty and was further remanded to prison. Khan will return to court for both charges on October 31st, 2023. In other news, police officers on Monday seized over 8,000 grams of marijuana following a stop-and-search exercise on Welded Public Road, West Berbice. The ranks stopped and signaled their intentions to search motorcar PYY 1658 AY212 driven by a 24-year-old Anchorville, Currentine, Berbice resident. There were 4 occupants in the vehicle. They exited and identified their belongings. One of the passengers, a resident of the number 67 Village, Currentine, Berbice, pointed out to have a sack and a traveling bag to be his. Inside the traveling bag, police found 3 bulky, transparent parcels containing a quantity of seeds, leaves, and stems suspected to be cannabis. A further search was carried out, and police found inside the haversack a parcel with suspected cannabis. The passenger was told of the offense committed, arrested, and escorted to the Welded police station along with the suspected cannabis. The items were confirmed cannabis, which when weighed amounted to 8,675 grams. The man remains in custody as investigations continues. On a different note, a 28-year-old babysitter has been detained for questioning following the death of a 1-year-old toddler. Police have detained the woman as part of the ongoing investigation into an incident involving Rahim Fong, a 1-year-old toddler of Circuitville, Sudan, Linden Highway, who died yesterday after being on life support machine at the GPHC, suffering from multiple head injuries. The incident occurred between July 1st of 2023 and September 15, 2023 in Yarrowcabra, Sudan, Linden Highway. Rahim Fong's parents had entrusted the babysitter, who is the niece of the child's father, with his care from Monday to Saturdays due to their work schedule. In August 2023, the child was taken to a GPHC with a swollen forehead after reportedly falling and hitting his head while in the care of the babysitter. He was treated and sent home in a healthy condition, but remained in the babysitter's care. On September 15th, she contacted the parents, saying the baby had experienced a seizure and lost consciousness, leading to his admission to the GPHC ICU with life-threatening head injuries, to which he later succumbed. Investigations into this matter is ongoing. Stick around when we return. President Ali calls for international support in achieving sustainable development goals and government's Safe Country initiative to enhance security in regions 3 and 6.
Oh gosh, what is this? Me son can't read or spell. Stop! 0 out of 20. Is what I gonna do here?
Let's start improving your child grades today. Register for our primary or nursery department. Hidden Treasures, we're located at 204 East Half Charlotte Street between Camp and Alexander. Or contact us at 649-0373.
I can call them now.
Hidden Treasures, discovering gems in young minds.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
All we will be making Chinese noodles with peppies, chow mein, chicken fritters, and spice cake. For the noodles, all these will be using peppies, black pepper, cashew,
Chinese sauce, soy sauce, garlic sauce, paprika, Chinese seasoning, chow mein seasoning, five spice, and all-purpose seasoning.
Next, this chicken that we marinated, soak for all you don't know nothing with peppies, green seasoning, miracle seasoning,
pepper sauce, chicken seasoning, paprika, garlic powder, dark seasoning, black pepper, onion powder, and ginger powder, and document plantain flour, and then this butter we make with this quick piece powder, and we
boil in high. We serve with peppies, barbecue sauce. Radhika went to the supermarket and she proper buy up enough things. She feels she alone can cook, but she routine even wrong. He shaped like a guy in a map.
Peppies has a wide range of ingredients available at supermarkets nationwide. Peppies, we put the pep back into your kitchen.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. On Monday, President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali addressed the 70th session of the United Nations General Assembly Sustainable Development Summit in New York, emphasizing the importance of recognizing and protecting the right to development in achieving universal freedom from poverty and hunger. The president stressed that international commitments must complement national efforts to make significant progress in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. The Latin America and Caribbean region requires $2.2 billion to bridge the financing gap for critical Sustainable Development Goals. President Ali highlighted developing countries' challenges such as high food inflation and elevated interest rates on external borrowing. He called for international financial commitments to be met and advocated for reform in international financial architecture to better serve developing nations' needs. President Ali also discussed Ghana's commitment to the Sustainable Development Goals and economic growth, particularly in the healthcare, education, and security sectors. The president also acknowledged that more than these efforts alone might be needed for the poorest and most vulnerable states. Moving on, the government is set to implement its Safe Country initiative in regions 3 and 6 by the end of the year, enhancing local communities' safety and security. As part of the program, the Ministry of Home Affairs, through the Ghana Police Force, is integrating information and communications technology into its crime-fighting capabilities to enhance surveillance nationwide. The initiative will connect the entire country to closed-circuit television cameras designed to increase formal surveillance by making it easier for security agencies to monitor potential criminal activities and deter crime by increasing the risk of detection. Command centers are being constructed in regions 2, 3, 5, 6, and 10, which civilians and police officers will operate in their respective regions. Meanwhile, to increase active community participation in crime prevention, 37 new community policing groups were formed. An additional 53 groups will be formed by the end of the year. Over 700 ranks participated in local and regional courses to enhance its human resource pool, of which 22 participated in 16 crime prevention-related courses. Don't go away after the break. Sudan food shortage, nearly half of the population facing hunger, UN says, and Canada links Indian government to Sikh leader's murder.
Problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Hello, my fellow TikToker followers. He is credit. And today, all we will be making Chinese noodles with peppies, chow mein, chicken fritters, and poise cake. For the noodles, all of these will be using peppies, black pepper, cashew,
Chinese sauce, soy sauce, garlic sauce, paprika, Chinese seasoning, chow mein seasoning, five spice, and all-purpose seasoning.
Next, this chicken that we marinated, soak for all you want to know nothing with peppies, green seasoning, miracle seasoning,
Pepper sauce, chicken seasoning, paprika, garlic powder, jerk seasoning, black pepper, onion powder, and ginger powder, and document plantain flour, and then this butter we make with this quick piece powder, and we
boil in high. We serve with peppies, barbecue sauce. Radhika went to the supermarket and she proper buy up enough things. She feels she alone can cook, but she routine even wrong. He shaped like a guy in a map.
Peppies has a wide range of ingredients available at supermarkets nationwide. Peppies, we put the pep back into your kitchen.
Smart Minds Educational Institute, offering preschool, nursery, and primary levels. Finally, a school that is every parent's dream. Located at 69 Crow Street, offering academic excellence, trained qualified teachers, small class sizes, personalized gear, and one-to-one attention for your little ones. At Smart Minds, register for full-time or evening classes, daily practice pass exam papers for proficiency at the grade 2, 4, and 6 assessment, and CXE exam preparedness. Or join our Becca Phonics reading and writing program. So if your child is for preschool, nursery, or primary level, come to Smart Mind, located at 69 Street, or call 231-4885 or 600-9229 to enroll now.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. Canada says it is investigating credible evidence that the Indian government was linked to the killing of prominent Canadian Sikh activists in British Columbia in June. India has rejected the allegations made by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau as absurd. But Canada has already expelled an Indian diplomat while the investigation is still underway. Al Jazeera's Shahib Ratansi reports.
Canada's Sikh community accused the Indian government of being behind the murder of Sikh activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. He was killed by two masked gunmen near a Sikh cultural centre in June. Now, in an urgent statement to Parliament, Canada's Prime Minister has revealed an investigation into possible involvement by the Indian state.
Over the past number of weeks, Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
Canada's foreign minister announced the expulsion of an Indian diplomat, described as the head of Indian intelligence in Canada as a result of the allegations.
If proven true, this would be a grave violation of our sovereignty and of the most basic rule of how countries deal with each other.
The Canadian government has not released any evidence. The announcement and the expulsion raised several questions, not least if these are still only allegations, and the Canadian government is asking the Indian government for its help in, quote, getting to the bottom of what actually happened. How is it the Canadian government already felt in a position to be able to expel the Indian diplomat? For Sikh community leaders, Ottawa's actions were welcome.
I think at the moment we have no idea. The justice system itself has been kind of, I think, failed in these moments in the past where trade deals and diplomacy and all these types of things come into play. So human rights, if it's actually at the forefront of our agenda, then I would say the justice system should do its work, its job, find the people that actually did this.
India-Canada relations have been tense for some time. In fact, Narendra Modi was reported to have complained to Trudeau at the recent G20 about the political space Canada gives to Sikh separatists. Now, Trudeau says he raised the allegations of Indian involvement in Nijar's killing, quote, in no uncertain terms at the summit as well. Shiab Ratansi, Al Jazeera, Ontario.
Internationally, Sudan's war between army and the paramilitary rapid support forces has cut off millions of people from their jobs, affecting their ability to put food on the table. The United Nations says nearly half of the country's 46 million people are facing hunger. Al Jazeera's Habib Morgan reports.
Arafa Ahmed is a school teacher who comes to this market in northern Omdurman to buy her basic needs. It's one of the few in the capital that remains open since war broke out in mid-April. She says the conflict between Sudan's army and the country's paramilitary rapid support forces has meant she's had little money to buy what she needs to survive.
We've only earned this month. Before that, there was no earning. Every Sudanese has reduced what they buy because there is no source of income. All the government facilities are not functioning, so there is no ability to purchase. Because there is no income, there is no consumption. I'm lucky to have a son who works abroad, but things are still tough.
Prices in the market have increased since the war began because of rising fuel costs and traders having to import what was once locally produced after many factories were destroyed in the conflict.
The market is a bit slow, but we're managing. Some people come, and when they find the thing they want, it's expensive, and they choose what is cheaper instead because they can afford it.
But not all those in Khartoum have access to basic goods.
While goods are available in some markets, in other parts of the capital, finding basic commodities is challenging. That's because the fighting is preventing traders from being able to move their goods, leading to shortages in many areas in Khartoum and other cities in Sudan, and raising prices when many have no source of income.
At least 1 million people worked in the public sector prior to the war, and millions of others relied on day jobs to be able to feed their families. But all that has been disrupted. The conflict has now displaced more than 5 million people, and the number of people needing humanitarian assistance to survive has risen from 15 million to 20 million. That's nearly half of Sudan's population, and getting aid to those in need is challenging.
Without having safe passages and without providing protection to the humanitarian workers, it's impossible for WFP to reach out to those people who are currently hungry, who sometimes goes to bed on an empty stomach.
Arafa says she knows she's lucky to be able to access and afford her needs, but she worries that she may not be able to do so if the fighting continues. Hiba Morgan, Al Jazeera, Khartoum.
And finally, world leaders are gathering in New York this week for the United Nations General Assembly, and there are major concerns that climate pledges aimed at the year 2030 are not being met. UN countries have made big goals and promises for that year. Al Jazeera's Patty Kahan reports.
A dismal rainy day at the United Nations, a fitting backdrop to a bleak status update on the progress of important UN pledges. They are called Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, adopted in 2015, 17 core promises to improve the globe and the lives of the people on it by 2030. The importance clear on the lawn of the complex, now a visual reminder of how far countries have fallen short at this, the midway point. One goal, ending hunger. The UN says last year, 9.2% of the global population experienced chronic hunger. That translates into 735 million people. On preventing the worst impacts of climate change, greenhouse gas emissions need to be halved by 2030. Commitments from the 193 countries that signed the Paris Climate Accord are predicted to mean a reduction of just 0.3%.
Yet today, only 15% of the targets are on track, and many are going in reverse.
The majority seem to agree on the reasons. The most blame goes to the COVID pandemic.
The fragile progress made has been undermined by wars such as the war of aggression launched by Russia and Ukraine, by pandemics, climate change, widespread violations of human rights.
Many nations promising to do better.
My country will spare no efforts to reduce the rates of poverty nationwide, including poverty in families, especially those with many children.
Others explaining why they haven't met the goals.
Unfortunately, continuous acts of aggression against the sovereign territory of Armenia, warmongering and hateful rhetoric of the highest leadership of Azerbaijan threaten the security and stability in our region.
Overall, the general message, it's bad. In many ways, it's not getting better, and that needs to end now.
In the end, let us remember that the pathway to build a new world that is safer, more equitable, and free is through achieving international human solidarity.
The UN has laid out the steps that the world needs to take, and the countries did sign another declaration, a promise to redouble their efforts. But given the geopolitical strife and really constrained government budgets, it's not yet clear if this high-level meeting will result in heightened progress. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera, at the United Nations.
This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's TV2 Headline News for this Tuesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.